This is a lecture from OpenTuition. To benefit from the lecture, you should download the free lecture notes from opentuition.com.
The final part of chapter 2 is talking about residence. Now, the reason why residence is important, and residence is determined on a tax year by tax year basis. So some tax years you may be resident and other tax years you may not. And the reason why it's important is because if you are resident in the UK, you are basically going to be taxed on your worldwide income and gains. Whereas if you're not resident in the UK, you're only going to be liable on your UK income. We're not going to pay tax on our overseas income if we're not UK resident. So this is why it's particularly important. Now, to determine residence up until 2017 used to be pretty straightforward. Effectively, if you were in the UK for at least half the tax year, you were resident in the UK, generally for the full tax year. And then they brought in a bit more of a complication back in 2017, which is known as the statutory residency test. And in order to determine whether somebody is resident in the UK or not, it's potentially a three-step process. Now, you might stop at step 1, you might have to go on to step 2, and you might have to go all the way to step 3. It depends on the circumstances. But these are the steps that we have to go through to determine whether somebody is resident in the UK or not. So the first step you can see there, step 1, and we've got something called the automatic overseas tests. Now, if the person passes one of these tests, they are automatically overseas resident for that tax year, which means, of course, that they're not UK resident, which means that they don't have to pay UK income tax on their overseas income. So the first thing that we would look at potentially is whether the individual has been resident in the UK for any of the 3 previous tax years. Yeah. Now, if you have been resident in the UK for any of the 3 previous tax years, obviously we're dealing with determining residence for the tax year 2025-26. So previous 3 years, were you resident in the UK, yes or no? Now, if the answer is yes, then you have to spend no more than 15 days, fewer than 16 days in the UK in 2025-26 in order to pass this test. Yeah. So once you hit 16 days or more, you've failed. Now, if you weren't resident in the UK for any one of the 3 previous tax years, we let you spend a bit longer in the UK for this tax year. We let you spend no more than 45 days. As soon as you get to 46 or more, you've failed this test. Yeah. So you've not been resident in the UK for any of the 3 previous tax years, you only spend 40 days in the UK for this tax year, you would automatically pass this test and you would be overseas resident for that tax year. Now, the other one that we've got there, the third one, is whether you work full-time overseas and you spend no more than 90 days in the UK in this tax year. So fewer than 91 days, no more than 90, and you work full-time overseas. So any of those 3, if you pass them, you are automatically overseas resident, and we don't need to go any further. That's it, the decision's been made. Now, if you don't pass any of those 3 tests, we go on to step 2. So step 2, we say, okay, do you satisfy any of the automatic UK tests? And once again, we need to know about 3 of them. So if you spend at least 183 days, which is half the tax year, in the UK in 2025-26, you are automatically UK resident for that tax year. Now, the other one is where your only home is in the UK. Yeah. So your only home is in the UK. Now we let you have like a holiday home overseas as long as you spend no more than 30 days in the tax year. But your only home is in the UK. You are automatically resident in the UK for that particular tax year. And the third one is to do full-time work again. So this time is if you work full-time in the UK, then you are automatically UK resident for that tax year. And if the decision has been made that you are automatically UK resident under step 2, then once again it means that we don't have to go on to step 3. But if you don't satisfy any of those tests, so you're not automatically overseas resident, you're not automatically UK resident, we've got to go on to step 3. And step 3 is known as the sufficient ties test. So the sufficient ties test depends on the number of days that you spent in the UK during this tax year, 2025-26. It also depends on whether you were UK resident in any of the 3 previous tax years. And the other thing it depends on is how many ties you've got to the UK. Yeah. So a tie to the UK, for example, would mean that you've got, your wife and children that are UK resident. That would be a tie that you've got to the UK. So these are the things that we need to check. Now, if you fall foul, if you like, of the sufficient ties test, then you are UK resident for the tax year. However, if you don't fall foul of the sufficient ties test, then you are overseas resident for the tax year, and that's it. There's no step 4. So where we've got the ties that we could potentially have, there are actually 5 ties. Yeah, so one of them I've already mentioned. So if you've got a spouse and children aged under 18 who are resident in the UK, yeah, that would represent a tie to the UK. If you've got accommodation available in the UK and you actually use it during the year, so you might have, a house in the UK, you might stay with somebody every time that you come over to the UK, and so on, then that would also represent a tie. If you were in the UK for more than 90 days in either of the 2 previous tax years, that would represent a tie. Now, the 4th tie is where you do substantive work in the UK. Now, the definition of substantive work is where you work at least 3 hours a day in the UK for at least 40 days in the tax year. They don't have to be consecutive. But basically, you come to the UK and you do substantive work. That would be a tie to the UK. Now, the 5th tie only applies if you were UK resident in any of the 3 previous tax years. Yeah. So UK resident in any of the 3 previous tax years, you've got something called the country tie. And that means that you were present in the UK for more days during the tax year than in any other country. So those are your 5 ties. You've got your family tie, you've got your accommodation tie, you've got your 90-day tie, you've got your work tie, and then you've got the country tie. But that only applies, that last one, say, if you were resident in the UK for any of the 3 previous tax years. Now, in your tax tables, you will be given this table. So if a question comes up, you might need to refer to your tax tables because this is going to be quite difficult for you to remember, so you're going to have to look it up potentially. So as you can see there, you've got your days in the UK, so look at the number of days you've spent in the UK. Look at whether you were previously resident in the UK, so that means, remember, in any of the last 3 years. So the previous 3 years. or if you were not resident in the UK for any of the 3 previous tax years. So you can see there that that will point you in the direction as whether you're a resident in the UK or not. So let's have a look at a couple of illustrations. Yeah, so I've got illustration 2 here. And we're told that Sebastian was not previously resident in the UK, but spent 35 days in the UK during 2025-26. So remember that step 1 basically says, if you haven't been resident in the UK for any of the 3 previous tax years, we allow you to spend no more than 45 days in the UK, and you would automatically be overseas resident for that tax year. Now, he spent 35 days, yeah? So less than 46, maximum of 45. That means that he passes one of those tests in step 1, and that means that he's automatically overseas resident for 2025-26. Now, moving on to the next illustration, we've got Fernando. Now, he's not previously resident in the UK, but he's bought a UK holiday home on the 1st of May 2025, and he stayed in it for 140 days during 2025-26, and the remainder of the year he spent in his home in Spain. It's usually the other way around, isn't it? So when we look at Fernando, he's not previously resident in the UK. So that means that under the automatic overseas test, he can spend no more than 45 days in the UK and be automatically overseas resident. He's actually spent 140 days. Yeah. So he doesn't pass step 1. Yeah. So therefore, we go on to step 2. Now, he spent 140 days in the UK, and remember step 2, you're automatically UK resident if you spent at least 183 days in the UK in the tax year. So he's not automatically UK resident under that test. And his only home isn't in the UK. He's got a home in the UK and he's got a home in Spain. So we don't pass that second part of step 2, and it doesn't mention anything about full-time work, so we can ignore that one. So with Fernando, we've actually got to go on to step 3, the sufficient ties test. So he's been in the UK for 140 days, and he was not previously UK resident, but he does have a tie to the UK because he's got somewhere to stay when he comes over. So looking at the table, we want this bit here. So not previously UK resident. He spends 140 days. So that is 121 to 182. And that means that if he's got 2 ties to the UK, he will be treated as resident in the UK for 2025-26. Now, he's only got 1 tie, hasn't he? Yeah. And the 1 tie that he's got is he's got the accommodation tie. He's got accommodation available in the UK, and he's actually made use of it during the year. So only 1 tie. He needs 2 to be treated as UK resident. He's not UK resident. He's glad. Yeah, he doesn't want to be UK resident, because if he's UK resident, he's got to pay UK tax on his worldwide income, and he doesn't really want to do that. So he's not UK resident, and therefore he's very happy about that. So final illustration here, we've got Jensen. So he's always been UK resident, spending around 10 months of the year in the UK. But we're told on the 1st of May 2024, he purchased an apartment overseas and he lives there for most of the time. And in 2025-26, he spent 50 days in the UK when he stayed at the family home with his wife and children. So looking at whether Jensen's resident in the UK or not, step 1 is our automatic overseas. He has previously been UK resident in any of the 3 previous tax years, and that means, of course, he can spend no more than 15 days in the UK in this tax year, and he spends 50. So more than 15, and therefore is not automatically overseas resident under step 1. Now, when we look at the automatic UK test, which is step 2, he doesn't pass the first one because he's got to spend at least half the tax year in the UK, 183 days or more, which he doesn't, he only spends 50. It doesn't mention anything about full-time work, so we can assume that he doesn't work. And his only home is not in the UK because he lives in the UK with his wife and kids, yeah, and also he's got a home overseas, yeah. So he's not spent at least half the tax year, and he doesn't have his only home in the UK. So we've gone from step 1, he's not automatically overseas resident. We go to step 2, he's not automatically UK resident. And we've got to go on to step 3. So once again, we say, okay, looking at our table, and this time we want the first bit here because he was previously resident in the UK, so spending at least, 10 months of the year in any of the 3 previous tax years. So he was previously resident in the UK. He spends how many days in the UK? 50 days. So we've got between 46 and 90 days. And that means that he will be treated as resident in the UK if he's got 3 ties to the UK in 2025-26. So how many ties has he got? So he's got the family tie. So he's got his spouse and children in the UK. He's got the accommodation tie because he's got somewhere to live when he comes to the UK. And he's also got the 90-day tie because he spent at least 90 days in the UK in either of the 2 previous tax years because he used to be resident in the UK and used to spend at least 10 months of the tax year in the UK. So he's got 3 ties and he needs 3 ties, and therefore under the sufficient ties tests, then he will be treated as resident in the UK for 2025-26, and therefore he's going to be taxed on his worldwide income, which he's probably not very happy about. But unfortunately, residency is a matter of fact, not a matter of choice. Yeah, so therefore he's resident in the UK. Now, I know that this is a very long chapter, this chapter 2. It covers a lot of ground, and hopefully it's made sense as we've gone through. So we're going to finish with chapter 2 now, and we're going to move on to something else. Lots and lots of questions there for you to have a go at as well. Obviously, the answers are at the back of your course notes. So lots of practice questions for you to have a look at in your own time.